that if y'all don't mind, I just want to I thought this article, and I think a lot of people on this platform are familiar with Noname. At one point she had talked about doing a show on this platform, and
And she gave us some money early on.
She gave us some money. She showed support. Her book club featured my book at one point. So there's all the appreciation and all the, and this isn't, and I honestly don't have anything other than a kind of genuine fascination about this. I'm going to be using it starting even this afternoon in my hip hop class. With this story, and so I encourage people to check out the whole thing. The one part that I'll bring up for us to consider here is where I thought it was, because they really go into her career and her and basically what she's saying at this part, Fatima Warner is her real name, is where she's talking about at this part of the story is where she is and has been recently with her activism versus her art. So anyway, I just read this paragraph quickly here. If Warner had released her third album in 2020 as she had originally planned, it probably would have been a chronicle of her political radicalization. Instead, turning away from music, she attempted to practice what she was increasingly preaching. I tried to become something that I'm not. I tried to literally become an actual organizer, she said. But despite the success of the book club and its library, she became isolated and depressed. Although she didn't stop believing in revolution, she did stop believing that she was the right person to bring it about. I do believe that in terms of actually achieving any level of radical change, particularly through revolution, it's going to necessitate all of us organizing, she says. Will I throw away my actual personal life so my everyday struggle is just Black liberation? I can't do it. She had an insight that felt selfish but impossible to shake, and that surely would not surprise her fans. I love making music. After a few years spent devouring books, she is taking a break from intensive political study. It got to the point where I couldn't really tell where I was, like with what my true core personal beliefs were, she says. And so Sundial of her new album evokes two conversations at once: Warner's swift and confident embrace of Black radical politics and her slower, more tentative re-embrace of music as a vocation. I don't have a relationship. I don't have kids. I don't really have much in my personal life, she says. Music is really my bag right now, end quote. And anyway, there was a lot. I went through a lot. So personally, I went through a lot of emotional reactions just reading that section, but found it fascinating and the whole piece fascinating. And then listening to the album, I don't know if any of you have heard it, but it is also very interesting and at times really good. She's clearly got skill. And then they raise in that article some of the contradictions there, like what's up with Jay Electronica being on there with his pro-Farrakhan, anti-Ukraine verse, and the album ending with Common, who was with Kamau and them at the Black August, commemorations at one point, and ends the album in a very, I don't know, kind of, to me, milquetoast kind of whatever. But anyway. Just some thought. I thought it's fascinating. I just wanted to.
I always think that there's back in the day when MXG was like the rave, the one organization that came and started getting a lot of attention was Impedum, and that was when Dead Prez was organizing politically as well as doing music, right? And their music hit hard and everybody was like a fan and people started joining that organization. And then somehow they also got in some struggles in terms of their work relationship and their music. And so for somebody who's really good at something else besides organizing, and that's their love, I always think there's got to be some balance, right? I don't think if you are an artist and that's your thing and that's your heart, or that's where your joy comes from, but you also politicize, and I'm not Noname, but I don't see it as a choice, right? I see it as you use your art to uplift things and you do things in your time that support the things that you believe in. And I'm sure that's what that person is doing. But